Composed of 263 islands and braided the eastern city that never sleeps, Hong Kong is perfect for tourists who want to explore the expansive culture of the Chinese without worrying about any significant language barrier. And as the flawless accumulation of East meets West, the city has also taken the title of the world's most visited city over the last couple of years. But what makes Hong Kong so attractive to visitors from around the world? Well, whether you're in the middle of planning your next international holiday or you want to know more about this Chinese wonderland, then you come to the right place, as we're about to explore some of the reasons why Hong Kong is number one on everybody's travel list. So strap yourselves in and get ready for a smooth flight, as we are about to jump right in. Also, before we get into the video, don't forget to like this one and subscribe to our channel, as well as hit on the post notification bell so you don't miss anything from us. Taking in the sights of Victoria Peak. Victoria Peak is known by inhabitants of the island as the Peak or Mount Austin, and is essentially the highest peak on Hong Kong Island and poshest neighborhood in the entire city. But unlike something like Los Angeles, tourists don't visit the area to stalk celebrities and tycoons alike. It's rather the views that drive visitors crazy. Reach the top of Victoria Peak and you'll be welcomed to a lush vantage point that overlooks the city's dense skyline and outlying islands. Being able to see the city from this perspective really makes you appreciate its magic and is a feeling that no tourist should ever miss out on. The destination is also accessible to both the young and old, with there being two main ways to reach the top. The first is by far the most enjoyable and involves a brisk walk that turns into a bit of a hike after a while. The path that you follow is big enough, which allows people to pass if you want to take a rest. So there's no need to be a professional athlete here. Otherwise, if you've got no problem with waiting in line, take the tram from the bottom of the hill to its peak and bask in the glorious views without ever taking a sweat. Treasure hunting on Cat Street. But if taking in the sights isn't quite your thing and you rather prefer to pick up trinkets when traveling the world, look no further than the Cat Street Market, which has been running in Hong Kong for over 1,000 years now. This hidden market is located on a pedestrian street just below Hollywood Road and is perfect for any vintage treasure hunters out there. Filled with bona fide jade stores and makeshift street stalls with practically everything from quirky souvenirs to vintage photography prints, you'll find something for everyone here. And since it's going to take you about a day to be able to look through all of the interesting tidbits that Cat Street has, you'll also find a few contemporary restaurants like Bibbo and Manmo Cafe, offering everything from French cuisine to delicate dim sum. In other words, you'll be able to refuel and hit the market for a second or even third time whenever you want. Like we said, definitely a treasure hunter's dream. Sipping tea in the lobby at the Peninsula. As you might be well aware, tea is as important to the Chinese culture as coffee is to the Ethiopians, which makes Hong Kong the best place to be if you're a fan of tea from all maids and modules. And if this is indeed the case, then book yourself a reservation at the lobby at the Peninsula Hotel, which holds the city's most famous afternoon teas, which are renowned all across the world. With the building's classical columns, immaculate plasterwork, and incredibly detailed gargoyles, you'll feel like you've transported back in time while you sip on some of the best loose-leaf teas that you've ever tasted. You're also going to find a selection of homemade pastries, finger sandwiches, and scones, complete with accompanying clotted cream and strawberry jam, which on their own is enough to make the mouth of any tourist water. So whether you are a lover of high teas or just want to spend a relaxing afternoon feeling dignified and pampered, the lobby has you covered. Just remember to wear your fanciest clothes before showing up, as you wouldn't want to stick out. The chanting of the Chi Lin Nunnery. Hong Kong also comes filled with a number of cultural sites which are sure to make the avid traveler take out his camera in excitement. Walking into the Chi Lin Nunnery, for example, which is adjacent to the Nanlin Gardens of the city, is like walking into a different world altogether. The sounds of the city seem to disappear as soon as you enter the nunnery's walls and are replaced by the chattering of the nuns that roam the gardens. With a meticulously pruned bonsai tree, a relaxing body of water beset with lily pads, and the Eastern architecture like you've never seen before, the Chi Lin Nunnery is definitely a must-see. Believe it or not, the Buddhist monastery was actually built as far back as the 1930s and then later renovated in 1998. Still standing without having used a single nail in its construction, the Chilean Nunnery is also one of the largest handmade wooden structures in the world. So, regardless of whether culture is your thing or not, this site will still drive you absolutely wild, hiking the Dragon's Back. Although many know Hong Kong as a bustling metropolis filled to the brim with workers and tourists alike, what may surprise some is just how much nature surrounds the city. In fact, hiking and camping in the lush vegetation bordering the city is something both locals and tourists love to do on their days off, which is what brings us to the Dragon's Back, a short but incredibly scenic hike with a name worthy of any Instagram caption. Beginning in the Cape Collusion Cematorium in Chai Wan, you'll be taken to a journey through some of the most photogenic places you'll ever see. And if you have a photography drone at your disposal, you'll also be able to get a picture of yourself hiking along a ridge which, from a distance, looks like the spine of a mythical dragon, complete with views of Chico Country Club and golf course, empty beaches, and paragliders soaring above your head. You couldn't ask for more from a hike. Picking out at Maxim Palace. It might be a little tricky to find Maxim's Palace, which is actually on the second floor of Hong Kong City Hall in Central. You will then ascend the escalator to hear the sounds of a noisy crowd just waiting to enter the esteemed establishment, showing just how popular the restaurant is. Established back in 1980, Maxim's Palace is considered to be one of the city's most famous dim sum halls, which you will find decked out with elaborately detailed pillars, dragon motifs, and the type of glitzy chandeliers that you would only find in movies. Since the restaurant refuses to take reservations, it's not uncommon to wait in line for around 30 minutes before finding yourself a table. But the wait is well worth it, as the dim sum and other menu items are out of this world. For an old school dim sum fest, Maxim's Palace most definitely delivers. Experiencing the Aqualuna Symphony of Lights cruise. For those of you that don't know, Hong Kong has become famous for its illustrious multimedia laser and light show that takes place at 8 p.m. every evening. This Symphony of Lights, as it's been called, can be seen from all over Hong Kong. It is something that honestly can't be missed, regardless of how hard you might try. And it's a good thing too, as it's truly an incredible thing to see. To be able to get the best viewing of the show, make sure to book your place at the Aqualuna, which cruises around Hong Kong Harbor and allows you to watch the neon-lit skyscrapers of the city from all directions while enjoying a complimentary cocktail or glass of wine. There is really no better way to enjoy the Symphony of Lights, so make sure to take in the moment before lifting up your camera to capture some memories. Visiting the Tai Kwun Center for Heritage and Arts. Since Hong Kong's housing market is considered to be the most expensive in the world, with rent often being more than half of a worker's salary, you can imagine how the city does its best to be able to use every square footage. So, if you're feeling cramped by your own exploration of the hustle and bustle of the city, travel through to the Tai Kwun Center for Heritage and Arts, which, although just off of Hollywood Road, has a spacious area before its entryway. Here, you will find the massive courtyard surrounded by 16 historic colonial-era buildings, and a multitude of leafy trees, perfect for relaxation and cultural exploration. This space is free to the public and definitely delivers when it comes to the promise of art and culture. You'll also find a number of dining and shopping experiences here too, so be sure to take your wallet with you or risk missing out on some amazing opportunities. Dining at Duddles. The city of Hong Kong is also renowned for its incredible Cantonese cuisine, and while the various street food vendors spread across its geographical footing are a great place to start, there's really only one dining experience which is set to rock your world and have you coming back for more. We're of course talking about Duddles, which comes in the form of a serendipitous garden terrace offering dishes prepared by executive chef Feng Mei Yip, who just so happens to be a specialist when it comes to Cantonese cuisine. You can expect your dishes to be meticulously detailed and made using only the finest and freshest ingredients possible. And while you might come for the food, you're likely going to find yourself staying for the surprising wine pairings and the revolving art exhibition on display. We know that we can't say no to a good wine pairing. Can you? Exploring Kowloon's walled city park. Last and certainly not least, we have a feature that is sure to fantasize those of you who love basking in rich history of places that you like to visit. Ever wonder what it must have been like to live in the walled city centuries ago? Well, feel free to head on over to the peaceful walled city in Kowloon, where you'll be able to take a look at some of the remaining artifacts as well as exploratory plaques that tell the history of what it once was like in the world's largest city slums. A lot different from how the area area used to be all those centuries ago, the walled city park comprises fresh air, bamboo groves, pavilions, Qing Dynasty-style gates, flower gardens, and of course, a selection of beautiful ponds. With the opportunity to learn more about the culture of the city while relaxing in what is by far one of its most peaceful parts, you'll start to feel like a true citizen of the world. So, what do you think of Hong Kong? Will you be traveling there anytime soon? Let us know in the comment section down below, and until next time guys, we'll see you later.